Community service has always been important to my family. My mom and daddy always taught me the scripture verse that says, "To whom much is given, much is required." And I feel like I've been blessed so much with wonderful family and friends and my faith, and it just is the natural thing to do, to want to give back. One moment in my community service that has meant so much to me was standing on that stage at the city auditorium at the end of the Rome Celebrity Dance Challenge, realizing that I had finished the dance and I had not fallen, and then for the judges not to give me like a 2, which is what I also expected to get, and then at the end, when they made the announcement and that big mirror ball got handed to me, oh man, what a great thing to know that I'd had fun, that I had gotten the mirror ball, but that I had been able to make, with the help of so many others who supported me, I'd been able to make an impact for the Sexual Assault Center. I really feel like it's important to encourage other people to volunteer, and the group that has been given to me to encourage has always been children. As I was going through and looking at the different things that I do participate in, looking at pictures, it always comes back to a picture of me with a group of children. And so I feel like that it's up to me, just as my parents taught me to give back, it's up to me to encourage this new generation of students to know it's not all about me. Everything that we do is not about me. God put us here with lots of great gifts and talents, and He wants us to use those gifts and talents to impact the world to be a better place. So if I can make a difference in the lives of those children, and they can make a difference in the lives of others, then the circle goes on. I love to work with the people at Cave Spring Baptist Church. I grew up in Cave Spring, and it's a little place, it's a family, community, and it's so rewarding to be able to spend time giving back, whether it's through Vacation Bible School or whether it's through doing our every year nativity scene with the children, or whether it's providing meals for a family who have had some type of sadness. It's so rewarding to be able to give back to folks through our church. But another way in Cave Spring that I love giving back is through our annual Cave Spring 4th of July parade. It's been going on for 30 years now, and it is so much fun to see the children of children who were there at the beginning that say they wouldn't be anywhere else but Cave Spring, Georgia at 9 o'clock on July 4th, because it's so much fun and so it makes you feel so good about America. Patriotism, I think, is so important to teach to children too, and so I love being able to work in Cave Spring at my church and through the city with our 4th of July parade.
Community service is very important to me. I think it goes back to when I was growing up. My family taught me, several principles that in essence I applied to my everyday life. One is we should take care of the people that are around us, and the other thing is it's our job to make things better for the next generation.
As associates at Vargo Orthodontics, we really are inspired by Dr. Vargo. We see what he's done in the community. We really see how you can make a big impact with small efforts. I think so many people are overwhelmed with not feeling like one person or one organization can make a big difference, and we see every day with what we do with Dr. Vargo and the organizations that he supports that you really can. And seeing thanks in kids or organizations or whoever we are supporting, that's what motivates us.
I think it's very important to encourage others to volunteer. I think there's a lot of pride in what we do, and I think there's an innate ability that we all want to help one another, and sometimes people just need to be shown a way how to do it. The agencies and the groups that we've worked with have been very intentional. We've narrowed our focus over the years to really focus on children and organizations that benefit children long term. So that's really our main area of focus.
I really feel that the area that we participate in that fulfills us the most is our Partners in Education program. We do have a program that we give back to the schools of every new patient that starts treatment with us. It's very fulfilling for us because we allow that child to choose where they want that donation to go. So it's a continual fulfillment, because it happens almost every day, and they get so excited, and we get phone calls from schools saying, thank you so much, we just used your donation to the music department to help 2 children participate in the band that otherwise weren't going to be able to. And those kids get excited that their sports team or their art class is going to get that donation thanks to them. So it's a continual fulfillment, and they really get excited about it.
I've tried to encourage other businesses by allowing them to partner with us, or we partner with them. It's exciting. Sometimes, other businesses have great ideas, and we're there along to support them and cheer them along. And then in other ways, it's nice to bring people into the fold, because I think that they want to help. Sometimes it's not important who came up with the idea. It's important to bring people together so that we can help out the cause in the long run. I think for us, what we've learned over the years is that community service isn't just a one-time endeavor. We've tried to come up with creative ways to develop sustainability so that the programs that we participate in or the people that we help continue to generate enthusiasm. Like our Partners in Education program, one of the things that it does is the kids are helping kids, and you see the excitement that's generated when they have become empowered and they're selecting the activity or school program that they want to give back to. And it's a perpetual thing. So when people support us in the community, in essence, they're supporting the community back. We've created this cycle that continues to live on. We're in 72 schools so far in 12 different districts. Our program is about 2.5 years old, and to date we've donated roughly around $16,500 to different school programs. So I feel like it's a good cause, and it's a great impact that we're making in the education system.
Community service is important to me because I feel like we are all called to serve our community in some capacity, and we are all given gifts and talents to help us do that. I came to Rome 21 years ago to work for Redmond, and one of the first events that I was told I needed to attend was the Heart of the Community, and that was in 1995 at Coosa Country Club. And I remember sitting in that packed room and listening to those people I didn't know talk about things I knew nothing about, but it was all very good. And they were serving in a variety of ways that inspired me to think there is something I can do too in this community. It's just a matter of finding out what you're passionate about. And so I think all of us are called to serve in some way. There have been a lot of moments during service of all the things that I've been involved with that have meant something, but the one that probably touched my heart the most, there was a couple of dogs that lived down the road from me. They were tied out all day, every day, oftentimes without shelter and food. And I made an effort to meet the owners, tried to get them to give the dogs to me, but they wouldn't. And I asked if I were able to raise the money, would they let us build a fence so that those dogs could be off their chains and make sure they had shelter. And they said they would let us do that. So my good friend Dick Landry and I pulled some people together, rallied up some money, and went out there, built a fence for these dogs, and set them free. And that was a great moment to see that happen. It's important for us to encourage each other to volunteer and to serve, because I think that is what we're here on this earth to do. We're here to feed and take care and clothe and serve our fellow human beings. So it's important that we tell our stories so that others will feel inspired or feel called to do something with their own gifts and talents. Choosing where you want to serve or what you want to do is sometimes challenging. I tell people to pay attention to what hurts their heart. And for me, it hurts my heart that we have homeless animals and children in foster care. So those are the areas that I've chosen to focus. For instance, in our county alone, we have more than 4,000 animals taken into animal control in 2015. 60% of those were surrendered by their owners. That means someone physically walked in with their animal and handed them over. About 23% of them were euthanized. We are a progressive, wonderful community, and that we allow this to happen year after year is very sad and pretty scary. And then we look at the foster care situation. We have more than 420 kids in foster care right now in Floyd County, and we have enough foster homes for about 25% of them. So that means we're not only taking the kids out of their home, we're taking them away from their school, their families, their churches, their community, and they're being sent elsewhere in the state. It is important to me that we take care or be the voice for these who have no voice. And so those are really the two areas that I have focused most of my attention on in the last few years. In 2013, we were really fortunate to have an opportunity to vote on SPLOST here in Floyd. I just went right downhill. Okay. In 2013, we were really fortunate in Floyd County to have the opportunity to vote for SPLOST. And that SPLOST did a variety of things in our community that are really great. But the one that I feel great about is that we're going to be building a new animal control shelter. And we broke ground just this month, and it's very exciting that we'll have a new facility that is state-of-the-art for these animals that need our voice and need our care. My good friend Renee Webb and I have opened up a shop here in downtown Rome. And it's not just a shop, it's really unique in that we offer products that do good, hence the name Do Good, a sharing boutique. We offer products that are environmentally friendly or fair trade or support worthy causes. For example, my shirt is made from recycled water bottles, and my necklace fights hunger, and we have all kinds of products like that. Some that support local charities and some that support global charities. So it's been really fun curating products that do good.
What has most inspired me to engage in community service? Let me start over. That sounds like I'm in a chain gang or something. What has inspired me most to give of my time here in Rome and Floyd County really is the people. And that goes all the way back to when I first came to Rome 6 years ago. I found myself in a group of friends that really valued just doing that extra something, whether it was taking part in some kind of food drive or just attending events and being supportive of our many wonderful nonprofit organizations here in Rome and Floyd County. And so I guess there you have that effect where just that group mentality, you kind of fall in with your peers, and in this case very, I guess in this case it's really a positive form of peer pressure. Hey, we're doing this. Come out and support this event. Come out and take part. And so for me, giving back stems to meeting all of those people here in Rome and Floyd County that first welcomed me as a new resident some years back. So living in a vibrant, historic downtown area that we have here in Rome, and also working for the City of Rome for several years as a part of the Greater Rome Convention and Visitors Bureau, really gave me a better sense of community, a different sense of community, and it was through those things that I really initially plugged in the community through doing things with the Downtown Development Authority, Historic Preservation Commission, and also being a part of our neighborhood organization, the Between the Rivers Association, and just getting out there and meeting those wonderful people who all have something in common, that we all have in common, and that is to continue to see Rome and Floyd County through its continued development, its economic development, just seeing what it is that we can do when we pool our resources together, our time, our money. And so I would say that just from giving back to the city specifically has been something very rewarding to me because where I've found myself in life, I'm entrenched. And so it's something that I get to see every day as I'm passing neighbors, as I'm seeing our visitors here in town. And that has been just a tremendous blessing to be here kind of in the hotbed of activity and being a part of that. One thing that I've found as a newer Roman is that one of the best ways to meet people is to get plugged in and even to try things that are very different, that are maybe outside of your comfort zone, maybe even outside of your skill level, just to to try out some new things. And so I think one way to encourage younger people to give back is to come at it from just the perspective of getting to know people, especially if you're not from the area, if you are, if you're new, or if you're maybe coming back after college. I think one of the best ways to meet people is to find that common interest. And for many, depending on what it is that interests them most, again, there's a way to plug in. We're the future generation of those leaders that are here to give back and to, again, continue Rome on its development as the city grows and flourishes. And so for me, it's very important to encourage this generation to do more with their time than just what it is that interests them from a selfish point of view. For me, I think it's very important that this generation gets involved in the community and continues to stay involved in the community because we're the next generation. We're who's going to continue to carry Rome and Floyd County into the next era. And so for me, I think it's essential that we encourage people, encourage the younger generation to find some way to give back, to find people with those common interests and to do something together. Just because maybe volunteer service isn't your thing, but you're going to find a way to plug into Rome and Floyd County that will totally change the way that you see things. When you see what goes on behind the scenes and you get involved in different leadership programs, it really gives you a better idea of the inner workings of this community. And for me personally, it's been most rewarding getting to know so many wonderful people as a newer Roman. And I don't see any other way to do that. I think it's great, and I think it's a necessary part of being this community that you give back. So there's several organizations that I really enjoy being a part of here in Rome, and one in particular is the Rome Area Council for the Arts. Everything that they support and everything that they work to do here in this community really spoke to me even early on. And so when I was invited to be a part of their board of directors, it was an obvious yes. Traveling to different communities and seeing what they've done with the arts has been tremendously enriching experience for me. And so to see that we're doing so much of that here in Rome and Floyd County has been great to see that go on in our own backyard. Also just working with different organizations that promote preserving our resources in terms of our heritage and our history. That's something that for me as an interest goes back to elementary school and studying history and really appreciating and taking hold of what it is that we have now and making sure that we have it later for the next generation. And so looking back at the different things that I've been able to take part in and have some kind of hand or finger on the pulse of that, a lot of it does go back to community development and sharing what we have with others, but also preserving it in some way, regardless of the medium or regardless of its age. It's something that's very close to my heart. A fantastic organization here in our community is the Free Clinic of Rome, and the services that it provides for many of our residents are so very important, and it's so very necessary that we serve every part of our community. And when I first became a member of Rome First United Methodist Church, speaking to my pastor at the time, the Reverend Jane Brooks, she suggested that as a potential place to jump in, a place with a need. And at the time, it wasn't on my radar. It was a ministry that was started by our church and eventually was able to become its own entity. And so being able to be there on the front line with actual people, with actual faces, with actual lives in need, that has been one of the most rewarding experiences, being a part of this community. At the Free Clinic of Rome, I have the great pleasure of working one-on-one with the patients to check them in when they're coming to see the doctor, shortly before they're triaged, and hopefully what I'm able to do when I see those patients is just interject some kind of some smiles, some personality, ask them how they're doing, because oftentimes they're there, obviously they have some kind of need, and it may be physical, but it may be some kind of spiritual or emotional need as well. So I feel in that patient support role, I'm able to make some small difference, and I always enjoy that day of the month when I get to see those patients, and down to maybe some of the more mundane stuff like filing paperwork. It's all serving a higher purpose, and it's always something I enjoy.
Okay, so working with Kiwanis has enabled me to give back to the youth of our community the same way that so many people poured into my life as a youth. I am so honored to win this award because I think back on my time as a youth and I just think of all the people that poured into me, that believed in me when I didn't believe in myself, that never stopped holding me accountable, that were always supporting me and encouraging me. And so for me now as an adult to be able to do that for our youth, it's a dream come true. It's my life has come full circle. Serving on the board of the Department of Family and Children's Services goes hand in hand with my Kiwanis work. It's very youth, obviously oriented, and it's been amazing to watch what so few people do for so many people to make huge differences in our community. Being a board member at the Department of Family and Children's Services goes hand in hand with our work at Kiwanis. It's obviously very youth oriented, and it's given me an opportunity to see sort of from the behind the scenes of the people that work, as I say, in the trenches to keep families together, to help parents, to help youth. My husband Matt and I have had the opportunity to MC the Rome Celebrity Dance Challenge, which is a fundraiser for the Sexual Assault Center, for the past 4 years. The first year, Matt actually danced in it, so that was how I became aware of the Sexual Assault Center through his participation. And since then, that particular event has grown. They've continued to raise more money each and every year. For me, volunteering has been a very personal experience. That probably sounds strange. It is definitely about the other people and the people in the community that you're helping, but it's been very personally fulfilling. I am a firm believer in to those who much is given, much is expected, and I have been given way more than I deserve in my life. I have been given so many opportunities. I have been offered chances to make a difference where I thought, surely he can't use me, and he did. So for me personally, volunteering is very, very personally gratifying. One of the questions that they've asked us today is, who has inspired us to volunteer? And my life has been full of really wonderful people. And, me standing up here tonight in front of y'all is certainly because of nothing that I've done on my own. It's most definitely because of the people that have surrounded themselves, invested in me, been part of my life. I've said it before and I'll say it again, believed in me, given me opportunities that I haven't deserved, but that I've been so very grateful for. And I would just like to thank each and every one of you for what you've done to make tonight possible.
Community service is important to me because it's a way of giving back. I certainly was on the receiving end of a great deal of service and help along the way when I was growing up and trying to, develop myself. And without that help, I don't think I would have been successful. I think the reason that I've chosen the organizations that I have to work with have to do with passion. And like when I became involved with the YMCA, I think it was the passion that Jerry Bryant and Martha Bryant showed for the Y. I knew Jerry and Martha through our church, and Jerry got me involved with the YMCA, first on the board and later as chairman of the board. And that was a very rewarding experience for me. I remained part of that board, and I'm still part of that board through Jerry's tenure, and then James Williams, and now Scott McCreelis as head of the Y. And that's been a very rewarding experience for me over the years. I became involved with Murphy Harpst through the passion of Larry K. Wood. I also knew Larry through church, and Larry's passion for Murphy Harpst got me involved there on the board for a number of years, and that was an extremely rewarding experience for me. Getting to know about what Murphy Harpst does for troubled children was extremely interested, and that is a wonderful organization in Cedartown. I have become involved with the Davies Homeless Shelter through the passion of Bill Davies and Allison Trask, and being part of that has also been very rewarding. This is an especially exciting time to be working with the Davies Shelter because they have just completed a capital funds drive, and we will soon be starting a new homeless shelter in Rome that we will be very proud of. I would perhaps say also that wherever Joanne and I have lived, our church has always been a central point of our life. We joined First United Methodist Church when we moved here in 1974, and that has been our church home since that time. And I have been involved with that church in many different capacities over the years. I think I would hope to influence my grandchildren to contribute to their community through my example, and by seeing the things that I am involved with. I hope that will set a good example for them to do the same. I guess a couple of the things that I am proud of being part of since coming to Rome was perhaps when we set up the Total Joint program at Redmond in 1974. I was very fortunate to be amongst the first wave of residents coming out of training programs at that time who were fully trained in total joint replacement techniques. This was a relatively new procedure at that time, and we set up a program here at Redmond initially and later at Floyd, and we were probably the first total joint program in the state of Georgia that was based in a community hospital. Also, shortly after I arrived in Rome with Steve Wright and Bob Sloan, and later with my other colleagues, we set up a free sports medicine clinic which met on Saturday mornings and Monday mornings, which was available to all area athletes to come for a free evaluation of any sports injury that had occurred at any time, really. And we wanted it to be free because we wanted there to be no barrier to anybody coming and getting a quality evaluation for their injury. One of the projects that I was involved with and am proud of being involved with was the soccer fields, the Grizzard Park soccer fields that were developed for the YMCA. Many people were involved in that, but of course the Grizzard family really stepped forward and helped that to become a reality. That has been a really wonderful thing, I think, for Rome, Georgia, and for the youth of Rome, Georgia, to have those fields available for this sport. It brings many other people into Rome as well from other YMCAs all over the state. I became that student, and within a few days after that phone call, I was in Washington, D.C., working in the Capitol and going to school at night at George Washington University. my dream of becoming a physician had suddenly become a real possibility. It was not easy, it was hard work, but it was an exciting place to be, and it was doable. And so what I say to young people, or to anybody with a dream, be passionate about your dream, work hard, sacrifice, and other people will get caught up in your dream, and they will help you make your dream come true. And I think that's true of any, okay? And so what that leads me to is that what I would like to say to my grandchildren and anybody out there with a dream, that if you are willing to work hard, be passionate about your dream, make the necessary sacrifices, then other people will get caught up in your dream and they will help you to make it happen. You just have to believe in yourself and in your purpose. And when you do community service like we do for the City of Rome and the many fine organizations here, then we are giving back for the things that we received as we came along.
A big influence to me to motivate me to become a servant to our community is Sandra Hudson. From day one when I attended Floyd Junior College, which is now known as Georgia Highlands College, you know, she engaged us in student activity services, and she taught us what it meant to give back to your community. And growing up, I made a promise to my Lord and personal Savior that if He allowed me to be used, and I promised Him that I would give back to our communities. And it meant so much to me to be able to be a role model and an inspiration to so many people who struggle, because I too came from a struggle, but the struggle didn't become me. I became the solution. It is so important to encourage others to volunteer, because it's like carrying a torch. You know, we won't always be here, but we have to be an influence and to our youth, which is our future generation. So taking them with me to volunteer, to get involved, to expose them to what leadership is all about. You know, being a mentor, being a motivator, being an inspiration. So if they see us lead by example, not walk the walk, but talk the talk, and live it by example, then that motivates them to want to be a service to all mankind. So to me, reaching back and taking someone along with you as you take your path, that's inspiration to me to motivate someone else to keep the torch going. The reason why I chose the groups to mentor, volunteer my time with is because I believe in the cause. I don't want to see anyone homeless. I don't want to see any child feel like they're hopeless. I don't want anyone to feel like that, you know, that life is not going to give them anything fair. And I don't want them to always think that everybody has to always hand them something. So the reason why I chose the organizations that I volunteer to work with is because I believe in the cause. I chose to be involved with the school board is because I want to be a voice with a voice and an inspiration to our young people. You know, being a part of their development and their growth means a lot. We have so many children who want to expand, go to college, grow, but you got to reach them to be able to teach them. So I feel like if I can influence a parent or influence a teacher or motivate a student to stay involved, stay in school, graduate, get a good education, because knowledge is power and power is money, and children love money. So if I can be an influence to anyone who hears my voice, then I'm going to stay involved and make sure that we have children that are graduating, that are educated, because these are all businessmen and our future leaders in our community, and we can't turn our back on them. I chose the Chamber of Commerce to get involved because I believe in the businesses. Rome won't grow unless we attract people here. So there's a lot of people out there who don't even know how to begin to start a business, or who's starting a business and may not know that they're doing it illegally. So there are steps, paths, the knowledge that I have, I want to share it. So that's why I chose to get involved with the Chamber, because I believe in bringing businesses to Rome, because this is a great city to raise your children in, and for families to come here. And it's a small city, and we're growing and we're developing. So that's the reason why I chose to get involved with the Chamber. The reason why I chose to get involved with young people with the Housing Authority is because we have a lot of families here who live in poverty. And just because where you live shouldn't define who you are. And I wanted to motivate and encourage those young people to know that I too came from a impoverished area, but I knew then that I had a hope and I had a dream. And I wanted to share with them that if I can do it, you can do it. And that's the reason why I got involved with the Gospel Divas, because, you know, faith carries us a long way, faith and hope. You know, when all else fails, if you have faith and hope. See, and I have a passion, I just have a passion for children, and I believe in faith, and I believe in hope and opportunity. And I feel like that if you give God the opportunity to lead your pathway, then He's going to direct you in the right places. So working with the Gospel Divas and the children at the church, the youth group, through faith, because a lot of times we can reach children through song and music, and then it relaxes them, and then we motivate them, and then we capture them. So a lot of times they don't realize when they're listening to the music and giving God praises that when praises go up, blessings come down. So that's why I started the Gospel Divas and worked with the youth group at the church, because when they give God the glory, when they lift their hands up in praise, the blessings come down and overflow. You know, it's amazing that this time last year, we were raising funds for my sister who needed a heart. And it became very critical that she had to have a heart by the end of January. And in November, you know, through my leadership trainings with Leadership Rome and Leadership Georgia, God just motivated me to say, you know, if no one else if no one else believes in the cause, you're going to have to lead it to raise the funds to help your sister get the monies to raise so she can get a heart transplant. And last year, while we were raising funds in November, we set a deadline for February. And the February date was that we were going to celebrate her receiving a heart and the finale of the $10,000 that we had to raise through the Emory Foundation. And then they matched it. Well, because God is so good and graceful, on January the 30th, she got a heart. And on February the 14th, when y'all was celebrating the Heart of the Community Award, we were celebrating the $10,000 that we raised on behalf of my sister. And I said, it's amazing that this year that we're going to be celebrating, you know, me, but I don't look at the things that I've done as, you know, for praise. I did all the things that I do because I have a loving heart and I have a love for people. And that's the way of God thanking me for being a servant and giving my sister a heart, and I graciously accept it.